One of these days I'll figure it out.
Well, good, Joe. You spoke right as we were starting. All right, hey, welcome back. Joe just can't shut his mouth as we're about to start. Um, we're doing One Piece now.
We are back with the coolest fucking segment on Roundabout Cast. Don't give it up, Bradley.
Dreaming. Chapter 276, volume 29, I believe.
This is volume 30.
Oh my
And, like, the
god.
cover for volume 30 looks so fucking cool with like Luffy posing and Kami behind him, ready to smite. It's so cool. And I have to say, as we go forward in One Piece, characters' abs just keep getting more and more pronounced.
You got a problem, Bradley?
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. But we open up this volume, and before we even talk about the fucking chapter, the chapter cover story is already on some real shit. Because this is Ace's Great Search for Blackbeard, Volume 4. And the three before this, I think, didn't call it his search for Blackbeard. It was just like, oh, a new cover story. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, hold on. Like, the cover stories are already good, and they're already, like, relevant to the world in some way. But this is Ace, who is, like, one of the coolest characters ever. And
Ever.
yeah, and he's searching for Blackbeard, so I'm like, this cover story is going to be some real shit. Probably.
It goes places.
So it's really cool. We love Ace. Rip Dr. Blackbeard.
We here at the Roundabout Cast love Ace. You heard it.
Yeah. And man, those abs.
For a controversial opinion.
So yeah, we go into chapter 276, Shandy and Rhythm. At the where we left off last time, Wiper hit Kami with his reject dial, and after using the Sea Prism Stone, and there was a brief moment where I was foolish enough to think like, oh, this might be okay. And then it all goes to shit. And Neru shocks Wiper, and he really just starts fucking everybody up with these cool like animals made out of lightning. It looks badass. And
let me get a small interruption here because I thought there was a really good comment that went along with that.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Where you at? Thornray says, Skypeia is seriously so good. I still think it's story-wise the best written saga, though who knows, that'll change in the future, which I hope. I do have problems when it comes to execution in some moments, but overall it doesn't affect the overall story. And he brings up all the cool religious references, such as Wiper the Demon, which we talked about a lot last time, how Wiper just is a demon of rage when it comes to fighting Eneru and getting back to his homeland. And he's an angel who rejects gods. That has to be a Lucifer references. And stuff like Ganfall being the good-natured god, pretty much the New Testament, while Eneru is the bad-natured one from the Old Testament. I like the detail that both of these gods lack wings despite being from the Sky Islands themselves. The lack of wings really separates them visually from the regular angels. That was such a good comment, and it fits nicely with what we were talking about last time when it comes to this arc, but we just couldn't connect those pieces, which is why I love when you guys leave sweet, sweet comments like that.
Yeah, that's a really cool comment because, like talking about the religious imagery last time, like with the Kami and the apples, that was like one of my favorite things we talked about in that volume. So getting this comment that expanded even further than we did, I thought was just so cool.
Back to your regular scheduled Eneru ass beating.
Yeah, this is Eneru just fucking everyone up, and he hits Zoro with this giant Electro Wolf, and I was like these are like the kind of attacks where even though like I know obviously he's not gonna die here, for a brief moment my brain is just like, fuck, he's done. Like, fuck, like he's dead. Like, that's gotta be it.
Yeah, like you at least know he's in severe pain.
Yeah, like I've never he's taken huge attacks, but I've never like seen his like body and face in that much pain up to this in the story up to this point.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So he dispatches pretty much all of them very easily. And he basically turns to Nami near the end of this chapter, and he's just like, So he doesn't even say anything. He just kind of looks at her, just like, "Oh, I'll go with you.
I'll go.
I'll go with you." And like the way he responds, it's really just kind of jovial, and it just kind of reinforces what we were talking about before, where he is a psychopath, but it's not just like I'm just gonna fucking kill everybody just for no reason. He's like, earlier he told her like you are welcome to come to this new world I'm going to.
They were
And
all welcome before they challenged him.
yeah, it's like if they're cooperative, he's still willing to take them. So he's like a very consistently psychotic person, and that is so cool.
Yeah.
And then this chapter ends with Conus reaching Angel Island. She's about to begin letting everyone know about the Kami's plan. It's very scary. Chapter 277, cover story. I just love the cover stories, guys.
They're great.
By the way, this moment in the question corner, if people are familiar with Panda Man, who Oda likes to hide in the story all over the place, on the poneglyph back in Alabasta, there's the cryptic writing, but in one of the panels with the poneglyph, he slipped in the words Panda Man in Japanese in the writing somewhere. And I don't know, it's just Oda's just cool that he does all these little gimmicks.
If Panda Man becomes a real thing, I'm going to freak out. Like if
That'd
he
be badass.
if he becomes like a very plot relevant character that's been following the Straw Hats all along,
got One Piece
people would
first.
lose it. And he's called Pan D Man.
Dude with a D in the name. I still don't know what like the power of D is yet, but that's just such a cool thread to me.
It's something. It's there.
Ace gets thrown in a river. We're gonna find out what that's about later. So we open up this next chapter. Inero's kind of taking Nami to his ship, the Ark Maxim, and this is really cool that like it. So Ineru like took all of the gold that was here, and it's really cool because aside from gold being valuable, like I can't remember if either silver or gold is supposed to be like the best conductor.
Gold, I believe I've heard several
Yeah.
times. This
Like it serves a practical purpose too for like his ultimate ship vessel.
and we see him utilizing gold very early, like within this fight that's coming up that starts this chapter. So yeah, it's cool how this valuable gold for humans and for the Shandians, to Eneru, it just serves being a very good tool to get him to his plan.
Yeah, it's so cool that it goes beyond just like the arbitrary I want all this gold. It's also like it's extremely useful to him specifically.
And we talked about religious references, more Christian style with Lucifer and Old Testament, New Testament.
Arc.
Eneru's and this arc, right? But Eneru's design with the drums, there's like this really big, like I guess Buddhist style face, like Shinto kind of style face on the ship. It's got a really big kanji that probably says Kami on it. So I like this blending of Eastern and Western religious allegories in this arc.
Yeah. I like the idea that he has made this arc that he was willing to take people on to like his new world, and in boarding this arc he was going to like destroy his world, which is Skypeia, which the story of Noah and the ark.
Damn, that's
The
good.
world gets
Yeah,
destroyed while they stay on the ark.
never pieced that one together. I wonder if Joe died, by the way.
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
So that's just so cool. Then we cut over to Luffy, who is making his way out of the giant snake with Isa, right?
Yeah, this little panel of them opening the snake's eyes. It's like it's the whole page. It's just this gag.
Yeah, I thought it was
it's
funny, and
pretty
also I was like, ugh, inside an eyeball. Luffy finds his friend Zoro, is very distraught about it, and he kind of gets info from Robin about where the others go. So we've been pointing out anytime Robin uses someone's title rather than their name.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to keep pointing those out when we get to it. And later on in this volume, there's a stretch of like 3 pages where she does this repeatedly, and she even does it for characters we haven't seen up to that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Of course, Luffy, when he finds out like what's going on with the Kami, he's like, okay, well, obviously I'm going to go fight him. So,
Oh boy, here we go.
yeah. So, real shit. Port Gazdi Ace gets found by Milk Girl.
Milk Girl, Miruku.
Marnie.
She's very cool. I wonder what's gonna happen to her.
I wonder.
Chapter 278, Conus. It opens up on the arc Maxim, an arrow kind of detailing his plan to Nami, who is like, what the hell do I do? Because if I don't go with him, he's gonna fuck me up, and if I do go with him, I'll never get away.
She's playing this pretty smart, all things considered.
Yeah.
A very important here, he explains why his mantra is so strong. He combines this innate ability of mantra with his electrical abilities to kind of have this wide range, omnipotent on the entire island style mantra. He extends it with electrical waves, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Shortly after that, we cut back to Conus on Angel Island. She gets there, ready to warn everybody, and it's kind of she's really badass with like her bazooka.
Yeah.
And this is such a cool chapter, because we finally cash in on stuff that we suspected about the inhabitants of Angel Island all along, where like you kind of wonder, do they really have this reverence for the Kami, or have they just kind of been scared of him this whole time? And basically, whenever she shows up, they're all in their mode like, oh, you shouldn't say bad stuff about the Kami. Like they're still pretending to have like respect and reverence for him. But as soon as they even like slightly start thinking she might be telling the truth, they do a hard switch into, oh fuck, we got to get off the island. Fuck the Kami mode, you know? Like
fuck the Kami. There's a notable moment here where a little kid is asking, why would the Kami do that? Isn't the Kami supposed to protect us? But the mom is freaking out right next to the kid.
Yeah, it's like she knows.
Yeah, because she knows she was likely alive when Enru took over, but this kid grew up in this fake society where like, oh, the Kami's so great. So all he knows is this life where he has to revere the Kami, but the mom has been living this lie and she knows that it's terrifying.
Yeah, and the way that they verify she's telling the truth just like further reinforces how monstrous the Kami has been, because she's like saying people have probably said even worse things about the Kami, and all these people are like, oh, he's gonna smite you for this, and he doesn't, and she says like, oh, obviously he wouldn't smite me if this plan was real. But it's like the fact that everybody was so certain she was about to get smited just shows that like throughout their lives he kills people for like nothing, like barely anything against him. He'll smite people, and so they're like, the only way he wouldn't have just immediately smited this girl who is like shitting on his name is if he actually did have some plan and he just didn't need to smite people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought this was a cool chapter because we've talked so much about like how we think their society has been shaped by the Kami being a douchebag. So
that's an understatement.
Yeah, it was cool. Shortly after that, we cut back to the arc Maxim. Luffy Luffy confronts the Kami to end the chapter, and this is such a cool fucking panel where he says, "What did you do to my crew?" Because Luffy is the goddamn captain, and this is just him being the goddamn captain. He's like, "What did you do to my crew?"
Which pieces of garbage are you referring to? Luffy's look here with the tattered clothes because of the snake acid looks really cool.
Dude, he just looks like the man.
He is the man.
Chapter 279, Ace Awakens.
Oh,
it's really cool.
Oh shit! Kami hole, baby.
Chapter 279. This is the coolest shit. There's more instances of like we kind of jump back into Angel Island, and it was really cool because something was revealed about the white berets like a page after I had the thought, which just makes me think that Oda's very good at like making you think what he wants you to think. Where now that we've learned this stuff about Kami, I was like, oh, I wonder if like the white berets are only they only enforce the Kami's will because they want to protect their fellow countrymen. And then like the page after I had that thought, he confirms it exactly.
Yeah, that's a nice turn on them. I ended up really liking the white berets by the end.
So I don't know. Whenever like something happens in a story right around the time I'm thinking it, that's just like I give points to the narrative for that. I'm just like, you did a good job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the white berets are cool, and everyone's going to kind of start working together to evacuate the island. And then we cut back to Luffy about to fight the Kami, and y'all, this is the coolest fucking fight. Like, I always kind of, as soon as I learned the Kami had zippy zap powers, I was like, it was the rumble fruit. Shut up.
I didn't say nothing.
I was always like, Luffy's rubber. I wonder if he's going to be immune, or I wonder if we're even going to get to see that. Because I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it'll be like, maybe when we finally get to the big fight with the Kami, like they'll let one of the Shandians do the big fight. Luffy is fighting an Eru, and for like he starts getting hit with attacks, and everyone who's present isn't entirely clear what's going on at first. Where they're like, I guess he dodged the attack, and Nami's like, no, he didn't.
Even Luffy's kind of like, oh, I guess that works.
Yeah, and some of Veneru's attacks here are super cool.
Lightning Dragon.
And we get like one of the coolest like panels in the story where the Kami is just like shitting himself. He's just like, ah!
It's this face is legendary.
Yeah, it's funny. There's this giant it's a full page of the Kami yelling.
It's such a just as a page turn, just think about this. You just turn the page and then an entire page is Eneru making this smug asshole who has been dominating everyone is just making this horrified face.
Yeah. What is the master of the page turn?
Yeah, for sure.
So this is even better on the iPad because when you have a book, like you can, like you have a two spread basically, so you have some distractions when you have that kind of thing. When you're using the iPad vertically, it just shows you that one page, so it just turned the page and it's literally just the page.
If you're using the iPad vertically, you're doing it wrong. Use it horizontal. Joe, first of all, this is on the right-hand side, so whenever you do the page turn, there's no distraction. It's just the first thing there.
If it's horizontal, wouldn't you have to like zoom in because the page would look smaller?
No, it's big enough. It's like the same size as reading it on a manga page.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I guess the volume itself is like the size of my iPad. Well, you know what? Let me see here.
Go check it because I'm a horizontal boy through and through because it's kind of designed to be read that way.
The volume spread out is like the size of my iPad, so I guess it is.
That's cool. That's fine.
But, like,
Anywho, this face is god tier. It's been an emoji in our friend group Discord server. We have a Discord server with like, thanks to Tyler who has kept our entire college friend group together through this Discord. It's got this emote there, and Bradley never pieced it together until right before he got to this chapter, where I used the emote. He's like, "Oh, I just noticed it's called Kami Hole."
And we've had this emote since like
since the beginning. It was like the first emote.
It was the first one I ever requested because I was reading One Piece. I'm like, oh my god, I need it.
It's so good. It's remember this face.
Yeah, remember this face. Remember this ham. Chief in One Piece.
But yeah, this was just like a real, like even just the title of the chapter was cool. Captain Luffy versus Kami and Eru. I was like, okay, we got some real shit going on here, and I was like, wow, we got here really fast. Of course, the true fight hasn't really started.
I want to bring attention to the wording of Luffy being the natural enemy.
Yeah.
This idea of this is a phrasing that'll come up later, and I won't say anymore. It's just a very, very good phrasing to keep in mind that Luffy was the natural enemy of Eneru.
Yeah, and like I view it not just as, you know, his devil fruit power counters the commies, but also just like on a fundamental level who they are as people. They're just like natural enemies.
Yeah.
Right on.
It's very cool.
Man, we got some hot foreshadowing on the middle panel on the right-hand side of this last spread.
I mean, don't point it out, doofus.
We turn the page. The question corner right before chapter 280 had a fun question. I've talked about I've pointed out, I think, in one or two question corners before, where sometimes a reader will ask Oda kind of like a question that might be uncomfortable, and like Oda will answer it simultaneously in a mature way, but also without breaking his character. So this person's like, how come all the women in One Piece have huge breasts? There's more to women than just big breasts. And, you know, Sanji answers the question like, of course, there's more to a person than that. What matters to a person is in their heart. And then Oda gets to stay in character. He's like, hey, look, Nami's wearing a swimsuit. And Sanji's like, oh. But I don't know. I like that where like he can answer the question truthfully through his characters. And then Oda's like playing up the, no, boobs are great.
Boobs, though.
Boobs, though. I don't know. His question corners are fun. So, the cover story on chapter 280, Ace is talking to the dairy lass Moda, and she's holding a little envelope, and I was like, oh, is this like a love confession? Because who wouldn't confess their love to Ace? I think in reality, she just wants him to deliver this letter.
I want end of series Ace to be married to this milk girl.
Yes, I'm very much like,
Wouldn't that be cute?
That'd be very fun.
Guess we'll see in like 7 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll be married to me instead. So we go to the next chapter, and this chapter was so cool because we got to the Luffy versus Eneru fight relatively like quicker than I thought we would. And we get into it, and it's like, oh, Luffy's like the perfect counter. He's the natural enemy. But I like that it's not that simple, where after like these surface level attacks that the Kami obviously was not even really trying with, he's like, oh, I have to actually think. And once he like actually starts trying, this becomes a very difficult fight because his power is useful for so much more than just like
raw damage.
It is very cool, because like we think about all these levels. He has his mantra, which is like he's fully aware of everything going on within a radius around him. His power, which, you know, while he might not be able to shock Luffy, he can still move around ridiculously quickly.
Yeah, he has teleportation essentially with how fast he is.
Yeah, and I think his like whatever he calls it, this like forge attack where he molds the metal is really cool because this is like an actual real technique that is used where they run electricity through metal to melt it down and reshape it.
Hey, that's cool. I didn't know they used electricity for that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I was just like him traveling through the gold. You imagine him traveling through gold is effortless because gold is such a good conductor for him. So he's able to just zap up the walls as Luffy is running up them.
Yeah.
So a lot of this chapter is just kind of demonstrating those moves that I talked about, but they're really, really fucking cool.
I really like Luffy's ingenuity in this, like using when he's getting knocked down, he throws his feet up as he's flying downwards to do that Gum Max.
Look, that spear,
dude.
Mind you, oh, he does do X.
Gum Max.
The spear was before. Luffy is very kinetic, whereas he's like jumping around and dodging. And since the beginning, he's really good at throwing attacks while also being defensive. It's like it's nothing mind blowing. It's no JoJo 4D chess, but it's just energetic and fun to watch.
Yeah.
The end of this chapter ends with like a discussion of like a king of pirates. Like, what kingdom does that control?
Yeah, and you realize that Eneru like this entire premise of One Piece, and Naru might not even know what the fuck Luffy's talking about.
And Naru doesn't know about Gold Roger, I don't think. Like, that's
No.
crazy to think about. I never thought about that.
Had been in the air, right?
I mean, he must have. I mean, that was 20 years ago, Joe.
Came from another floating island, right?
He came from another floating island, so he was never a blue sea person.
Okay, yeah.
And while
I never even knew it was a little island.
yeah, that's true. Well, that's a spoiler.
No, it's what the white berets say that it's
Okay,
destroyed.
never mind. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I guess before we move on to this chapter, I just gotta say, like, it's always a joy to see Gum Gum Battle Axe. It's such like a simple move, but it's so cool.
I like that move a lot. It brings me back to the emotions you feel at the end of the Arlong fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like such a simple thing that was really fun is when Luffy uses a Gum Gum Gatling, where it's like his Ora Ora Ora. It's fun. We've seen this move many times, but like even though we could have like even though like we knew this just kind of reminds us that while it looks like there's a lot of fists, it is in fact still just 2 fists. So he's able to like effortlessly disable the attack.
Yeah, if your opponent has, say, predictive powers like Enaru with his mantra, he can kind of feel it out. He can just grab your arms and suddenly you're not at Ora Ora anymore.
I just
Between chapters, we have a chart of the different devil fruits, and I'm glad I have you guys because I was fucking tripping where it calls Paramecia fruits Paramythia, and I was like, am I okay? I was like,
no, Bradley, you're not okay.
And this is I don't know, it's fun to be reminded of all the fruits we've seen, and then I don't know, I look at the 4 fruits in the Logia type category, and I'm like, God damn, Logia OP.
Logia genuinely like OP. It's
yeah.
It's well known.
So, chapter 281, cover story. Ace is gonna deliver this letter. That's cool. I don't know what to say. Deathpia. This chapter's called Deathpia.
That's just a badass name.
A little bit on the nose, but okay.
That's just a cool name.
That's the name of Enaru's genius plan, he says.
Yeah. And this is yeah, I forgot that is like actually the name of his plan. He probably thinks he's really cool.
He's a clever boy.
Yeah. He begins releasing his lightning clouds, and unleashing like these lightning strikes all over Skypeia, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Luffy has a really fun strategy in this fight where he's like, oh, you know, since I'm like thinking too hard and telegraphing these attacks, obviously he's going to be able to, you know, dodge them or disable them. So Luffy's like, I just have to be unpredictable. I just have to space out. And Luffy goes actually Ultra Instinct here.
Literally, before it was cool.
Yeah, and it's really working. And we're like, oh, this is how he defeats Kami and Eru. And then he's like, well, since I'm not thinking, I can't attack either. And Nami's like, God damn it.
There's some clear manga flow juice that I want to talk about.
Yeah, do it.
All right, let's all jump to page 10. It has Luffy doing like a kick to Enaru's arm.
Okay.
So Enaru stabs in a direction that when your eye follows it, Luffy's kick comes in that same direction.
Yeah.
And then you get like the nice little turn in which he blocks the counterattack. Then on the next page, you get Enaru doing consecutive stabs, and it just looks really cool how Luffy's parrying them with his arms. And you get that motion from right to left as he's parrying them. He does his Ultra Instinct move, and then I want to jump to the page right before he does fireworks. He's shooting out all his fists, and Enaru is running through them. This would be on page 16 and 17. He's running through the fists, and then they start closing in on him. But then the next panel is like an expanding motion, so it's got this cool flow of like the fists and kicks closing in on him, and then you read the next panel and they're exploding out like the fireworks. Just really fun to read.
Fireworks is such a cool looking move.
Gets nailed by the bazooka and the rifle. Rifle's also a really cool move.
I really enjoyed this chapter because the same day I read this chapter, I watched a episode of Miraculous Ladybug where they did a very similar strategy. this guy, he like views the ground as like a disco floor, and all the squares like light up red, yellow, or green based on where opponents are going to be in the future. So they're like, oh, we just get a bunch of
cool.
people and be very unpredictable, so he can't tell which square goes to which person. So I don't know. That's me plugging Miraculous Ladybug. So,
Let's take a quick break because your podcast host has to go to the bathroom.
hey, that's a good idea.
Actually, you guys should just talk real quick. I don't know. Have fun.
Okay, Bradley. Let's keep going. Desire. Ace is on a boat. We made it to G2 Naval Head Base. I feel like
He's going to a freaking Grand Line naval base. By the way, this isn't like the bitch navy from like the East Blue or nothing. Like this is some real shit navy base. This is like I just remember early in the story where we hear like all of the actually like good people in the navy are in the Grand Line because that's where like the actual
are like people that are competent and able to like get shit done.
Yeah, and we're gonna see over the next few like cover story chapters that he like really casually infiltrates this base and is just kind of doing what he wants.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 282 though, Desire. This has been like a really, dare I say, even fight between Luffy and Eneru. It's kind of going back and forth between them getting the upper hand. Where now Luffy kind of has his like unpredictable strategies, but Eneru is about to turn the tide. The chapter opens up with them getting a clean ass hit on Eneru.
Yeah, the end of the rifle.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, the whole time this fight's going on, we're still spewing out lightning clouds. So Death Pia is still a go. Eneru this chapter, this is so cool. Like he makes a giant golden ball on Luffy's arm, which is going to drag him off the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And this was funny because anytime there's anything with gold in a story, I like to calculate it just because gold is like top 5 elements for me. And I love gold because of how fucking heavy it is. So
welcome to game theory.
Welcome to game theory. I was calculating it and I don't view this as canon at all because it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to do it. Later in the volume when Luffy's carrying this gold ball, it has to at least be like 200,000 pounds.
No big deal.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just thought that was fun. One Piece rules are probably different. I don't know, but it's fun.
Maybe the inside is hollow.
Maybe the inside's hollow.
Or maybe he's just that strong.
But I want to see Luffy squash an Eru with a big gold ball. So the ship is flying. Clouds are clouding. So Luffy's off the boat now. And I left a sticky note on this page.
What page is it?
It's at the end of chapter 282, where the Kami's like, there's a lot of things I want to do and a lot of things I want, but if I have to leave those... Oh, no, this is Nami saying it. This is cool. Basically, she's berating the Kami for kind of his values, where he's valuing like his position of power above all else, where he's sacrificing literally everything for what he's achieving here. And she just has this speech against him where she's like, if, there's a lot of things I want. And it's like, she says, what's the fun of getting everything you desire if you're all by yourself? And like, it's a very common thing for Nami to say or do. Like, oh, we're going to go do this dangerous thing because I like money. Or I don't know, like if she's like, if she's bantering back and forth with like Zoro or Sanji, she's like, oh, fuck you, I like money more. But
at the end of the day, she's good-hearted. Yeah,
like at the end of the day, she really does care about people and her friends more than she cares about the money.
I like the very slight squiggles on her eyes as she's saying it, like she's holding back tears, and she can hardly believe that she's gonna be this brave at this moment.
Yeah, man, we love our girl.
We do.
The cover story for chapter 283 is Ace, and like we said a minute ago, this is so cool because this is a Grand Line Navy base, and he like very casually is like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking infiltrate the base and just do what I want. So, he's so cool. Then we're like, oh yeah, it's been a while since we saw what Sanji and Usopp were doing, because they were passed the fuck out because
Fair enough.
Kami one-shotted them earlier. But Sanji is able to spot Nami on the boat, so of course they're gonna go save her. And this is Nami buying time up on the boat while Sanji and Usopp come to her rescue. And this is really cool because whenever we see her reach for her climate baton, we realize that because of like, the totally unrelated events of Alabasta, she actually does have some means to defend herself against the Kami, which it's just cool how well this story flows. Like,
Yeah.
if she never got the climate baton, obviously she either would not have been able to defend herself against the Kami, or we would have had to introduce something like right here, right now, so she could defend herself. But it's like, oh no, she always has the climate baton on her. It's just cool.
It's nothing major, but like I feel like a lesser story would have glossed over the fact that Nami has a tool that could at least parry some attacks from Eneru.
Yeah.
And that would be a cool moment of her holding her own for even just a little bit. But I'm glad that Oda capitalized on that.
Yeah. It's really cool. The rest of this chapter is kind of jumping around, showing evacuation efforts, showing Luffy and Isa getting ready to make their way back to the battle, and Nami defending herself.
Big hero Usopp is saying sorry after he attacks Eneru. It's such a pathetic little sorry. He's like,
it's kind of amazing how simultaneously cowardly and really fucking brave Usopp is. Because, like, I'm not gonna, like, Usopp comparatively has some giant balls. Like, he will.
Usopp's a bitch who is 10 times way cooler than any of us could ever be.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a lot of the stuff he does, like, I would just never do it because I'm too much of a bitch to do that. Usopp will do it, but then he's like, no, I'm actually a bitch. Don't hurt me. It's just funny. And it's funny because he attacks Eneru and he says sorry, and then the next chapter is called Sorry.
That's pretty good.
So this is like a really fun moment of Nami and Usopp, who are I guess like combat wise they're the weakest on the crew.
Yeah, Oda has gone on record to say, yeah, they'll probably be consistently the weakest because that's kind of their role in a way.
And they kind of have to defend themselves. It's really cool.
Which is great. They're doing pretty good. Eneru is not trying very much because he knows he's got this in the bag, but I think they're doing pretty decent.
Yeah. I put a sticky on this page where. Oh no! I know why I put a sticky. I put a sticky on the page where Usopp gets like smacked in the face and Nami's riding towards him on the waiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this funny thought where I was like, oh, Usopp's like the tank of the Straw Hats because he's always tanking these terrible attacks.
He can take. I mean, tanking a slap to the face is less impressive than say a 4-ton bat, but it's all right.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes he's like taking these hits while we wait for Sanji or Luffy to come save the day.
It's I like Usopp's attack here of trying to mentally destroy Eneru by saying a needle gets stuck deep beneath your fingernail, and it gets to Nami.
Yeah, Nami's like, oh no, that hurt.
A paper cut between your fingers. It's really fun.
Yeah, I was just like, he was saying that, and I was like, oh, Usopp, just stop. It's not gonna work. And then Nami's like, oh no, please. I was like, oh, all right.
It's a great attempt.
Oda's a funny man. As this chapter goes on, it gets pretty much as dire as possible. And then Sanji shows up. He looks like a badass. He gets like grazed by the lightning, and he's like, I was just thinking how I wanted a light.
I don't think that's being grazed. I think the lightning hit him dead on.
Oh shit, did it really?
Yeah, he kicks Usopp out of the way. He's in the middle. If you look at the ground of the panel before that page, the ground is charred where he's standing.
Oh, so yeah, he's just a badass.
Yeah, he just fucking speaking of tanks.
Yeah, he's a fucking beast.
This is one of the most badass moments in One Piece for me.
Well, this reminds me for a moment that comes later.
Yes,
this
Joe.
pose.
Yes. Yes.
I don't like people that are standing. It intimidates me.
We move on to chapter 285, Capriccio. Which
You're not gonna talk about Oda drawing the Straw Hats with his goddamn mouth?
they are. You should do the rest of One Piece like that.
They're way better than I could draw.
No, the Zoro one's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw the Zoro one, and I was like, he actually didn't do that bad. We get to chapter 285, Capriccio, and I looked up the definition for this word, and I remember thinking that it was like a really fitting name for this chapter, but I can't remember why because I don't remember the definition.
Bradley. Oh, Bradley, I was gonna say and I forgot. Have you considered maybe writing a small, like, couple word note on your sticky notes, perhaps?
I should do that because probably like 2 out of 10 sticky notes I'll get to it, and I'm like, why the fuck did I put this here?
Capriccio is a lively piece of music, typically one that is short and free in form. Been a lot of musical arc names here.
Yeah. I don't remember my reasoning for why that fits so well, but just take my word for it. It's good.
Maybe it'll come back to you. Maybe it should have been on a sticky note. Oh.
You're right. Oh, okay. So in this next chapter, we get to see Robin a few times. We love her.
Yeah.
There's a stretch of a few pages where she repeatedly is talking about her teammates. Like she says, I wonder what happened to the Navigator and the others, which we've seen her refer to Nami as the Navigator before. She also does this on the next page, or when I turn the page, for Usopp and Sanji. She calls them Long Nose and Mr. Cook.
Mr. Cook.
I find it funny how everyone else is like their job, and Usopp is Long Nose.
Usopp's job is worthless.
I think that's for later, but
yeah, like her saying this is just like giving me more points of data because I want to. Like I'm really waiting for like the time when she calls the next person by their actual name.
You know what's cool? I don't remember. So what if Oda just drops the ball here and it's just like it just kind of happens in a nonchalant time? We're like, oh, I guess she's doing it now. I don't remember.
No, he's too galaxy brain.
I know when it happens.
Okay, Joe knows.
Okay. The next page, Luffy's like running up the beanstalk with the giant gold ball, and it looks fucking badass. I want him to just wreck someone with it.
The stamina on this boy.
The Angel Island inhabitants are evacuating. Kami and Eru's Death Pia is starting, and these are like just the best lightning bolts. Good job, Eneru.
The best. I have the best lightning bolts.
Yeah, and he says time to start the feast, which didn't he use the word feast earlier this volume?
Possibly. I didn't keep an eye out for it, actually.
And we get a coloring page this volume, which is fun, and interestingly enough, I think this is the first volume where they don't advertise Dragon Ball at the back of it.
Nice.
They don't advertise any other Jump manga. I can't tell you guys what to buy this week.
Woo! Buy One Piece, motherfuckers.
This entire volume was pretty much a banger. Just like based on the cover alone, I was like, this is gonna be awesome.
Bradley, the next volume. Just looking at the cover of the next volume should speak volumes to we're about to take a very cool left turn.
Yeah, I looked at the cover of the next volume and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So,
there's some characters there that you're like, who the fuck are these?
yeah, so I'm like, I have no idea what's in store.
No predictions? Nothing?
Well, this guy with he has like red Super Saiyan 3 hair, and he looks like Wiper, kind of, so I don't know what's happening.
Interesting.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Bradley, do you have any predictions on... Enru keeps talking about this promised land. What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, so it's interesting. He wants to go back. He talked about going back to where he came from in Lisvars But his homeland was destroyed, right?
I don't know if he uses the word where he came from. He says the land of where gods belong or
Ooh, so
something
he
along those
believes he
lines.
belongs there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't got nothing, because I didn't have anything until like we learned more about Eneru, basically.
Yeah. Without thinking about it too much, I think it would be really cool if either a Shandian like gets the final blow on Aneru, or they at least play a very pivotal part in his defeat, just because like this is everything to them. So I'm predicting. Hopefully,
I can't wait.
I really hope that either Wiper or Isa play a very good role in Aneru's defeat, especially Isa because she has like, I think she's the only other person with mantra comparable to his. So I don't know. Maybe she could be the new Kami.
I'm just gonna say it's better than you could ever imagine. So
I'm
whatever.
sure it is.
It's fucking the best.
Isa's gonna be the new Kami. 60% sure.
All right, cool.
Okay. That's One Piece.
That's it. I really hope that. So we're about to have. You have 2 volumes on you, right?
I do, and we're about to go into the holidays.
So it would be really cool if, because those 2 volumes finish Skypeia. So maybe.
Also, like, have you finished 33 also?
Did I hand it to you?
I have 31 and 32. If you,
I can do 33 this weekend, and I can give you all 3.
Yeah, if you give me all 3, that'll be cool. I just noticed that so it says like the overarching story arc names on these volumes. We're on Skypeia. It looks like 32 is titled Water 7, which I heard is like borderline the best shit ever. So
Joe, we're almost there.
very
We're
excited.
almost to the point where Bradley has to admit that One Piece is his favorite manga.
Like I'm already borderline. It's already
Rejoice.
my favorite manga. So
Water 7 is probably gonna be the arc that I read along with you, Bradley.
yeah.
Just because the first part of it's gonna be rough, but I say rough with like a very soft like rough. It's not that bad, but it's just kind of like a
The
what
first,
happened? Yeah,
the first part of it is godlike. Joe be tripping out here. Whatever.
whatever. Anyways, but it's my favorite saga.
Hey Tyler,
So,
say a word.
say anything.
Word.
Nice. We
Alright.
all made it, gang. We all said a thing. Joe, you said you had a hypothetical to close us out here.
All right. So here's the deal. We make a clone of you, but it's a baby you. Like it's you as an infant, like 0 days old, 0 hours, and you have to raise it. How do you raise it differently?
I train it like the wolf trains Ringing Bell in the movie Ringing Bell. He's eventually going to kill me.
Well, no, it's the. Oh yes. Oh my God, that's dark.
I raise it by not showering it with praise and telling them that they're smart and special.
I'd raise it by giving it a stable income, and leaving it in America. That was an important part.
You're gonna pay your child? That's child
No.
labor, Willer.
They'll just have it easier. They won't have to drive clunkers that will explode on them.
Clunker.
Do you think you could raise yourself like at all?
I am super easy to raise, dude. My entire existence is trying to make sure my parents don't have to worry about me. So I'm pretty sure I'd be pretty good to raise.
I would be really hard to raise up until like freshman or junior year of high school.
Now, child Willer, that's different. That was a fucking Satan
You have to
child.
go through all stages of life.
So I'd make sure that child Willer doesn't pee on people and go to the bars with his dad and just hang out and come back home.
But Will, those are the best stories. You and your shitty Pokemon Blue version and everything.
Yeah, I would give Willer a real Pokemon Crystal, not that Vietnamese one where water gun is translated to fluid and sand attack is translated to loud. Joe, you have an answer.
Yeah, what's little Joe gonna get?
Oh God. The first thing would be, I would try to figure out a way to like get me to eat more things somehow. I don't know how I would do it, but it'd be like the one thing.
You are a bit of a food bitch.
I am a food bitch. Been getting a lot better lately.
That's good.
But I would definitely get to like try to branch out and try different things. I would also, I feel like, be more involved in in my little self's hobbies and what they actually want to do, and kind of, the last thing I would want them to feel is feel reluctant about their interests and what they find cool.
Yeah.
I always felt like as a kid, like it's like I can't like. It's not cool to play video games or to play with little men, so I can't talk about it around my family. Kind of thing. Like I would try to like avoid that at all possible.
I think you're cool, Joe.
Tyler, would you still give yourself your Game Boy so you could play while you're at your brother's baseball games?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I was an easy child to raise. My parents gave me a Game Boy and a game, and I didn't really care what the game was most of the time. I just sat there and played the crap out of it.
Yeah. I think we were alike.
I kept to my devices. I ran around and didn't get lost, except for that one time at Disney.
Oh no.
All the time.
I was scared of strangers.
Perfect.
And
Fuck 'em.
as a teenager, I was even easier to raise because I was a very introverted, pretentious teenager. I had lots of extracurricular activities in school, so I was at school from like our school started at 7 a.m., which was the worst. And then I didn't leave school until 8 p.m.
Why? Was it because of your theater?
Yeah, because I did track after school, so my track practice was from like 3 to 5 o'clock. No, like 3 to 4:30. Let's do that. I would go get some Sonic or McDonald's, which this is the time when I achieved my 26 days in a row at McDonald's.
Damn.
The legendary pilgrimage of Tyler.
Fun fact,
Tyler Nirvana.
I only weigh 165 pounds. I did not go through some tragic weight loss. I just ran a lot.
Yeah, you were a runner boy.
But yeah, I would go run, and then like I would do theater from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it was like during that time, during high school, I never went to like, I came from such a small town. I didn't even know there were high school parties where people drank and like smoke weed at and like cigarettes. Like I had no idea because even if
those parties, I just knew I was not at them.
Yeah, like I didn't know people were even at them. And honestly, I didn't want to go either. Like I wanted to go home, watch Netflix and play Call of Duty and play MapleStory. Like
I just want to play Halo Reach.
That's all I wanted to do, and like I cared about track way too much. So it's like, oh, if you smoke cigarettes, you're gonna be really bad at running. Like you're gonna be a bad athlete. If you drink, you're gonna be stupid. And like I was like, I care about my classes. You know,
you're gonna suck at cross country, bitch.
Yeah, that was my thought. So I didn't do any of those things.
We seem oddly similar. I had very much middle child syndrome, where I was like the least. I guess the positive part of middle child syndrome, where it's like the least attention I'm getting, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents were just like, we could just, he'll figure it out.
I would definitely, another thing would be, would introduce myself to the idea of different avenues of employment, and like really, because like when I was in high school, like my brain was just like, oh, I have to be a doctor or like something like prestigious, so like job. Like it never clicked in my brain. It's like someone has to run Disney World or someone has to make a video game. Like there like the idea of like people actually make the world go around, not just the people that you kind of see in front of you. Like someone's always behind something else doing something, and just opening up the idea to that rather than be like, oh, doctors are cool. And yeah, but hey, that's just life, man.
Bradley, you got anything else besides being raised as a wolf after we've bored our souls out to you?
Everyone knows everything about us now.
Oh, there's more to know, I'm sure.
Let's dox Tyler's school so everyone can go vandalize it.
Also, I wouldn't harass me whenever I talk to a girl. That's another thing that kind of made me kind of fucked up. Also, I wouldn't rent a shitty Barney for my first year birthday. Make me terrified of costume people.
Your parents harassed you when you talked to girls?
Whenever like I was ever in the vicinity of a girl, I got teased and mocked about.
Oh,
yeah, and I was just like, it never made me comfortable to be around a female ever.
My parents are like extreme in the opposite direction, where like anytime I ever talk to a girl, it's like have kids with her right now.
They're like, now kiss.
But like that's the idea. It's like you should ask her out and go out on a date. And I was just like, I literally just need her to help me with that school project. Please leave me alone.
If I was my parents, I'd marry someone taller so I could be not as short. There you go. I think that's a good point to end this one on.
Hey, weren't you gonna say ask a question? Like, was I supposed to ask a question or like?
So we were. That's for next time potentially.
No, this is good. Basically, I want us to have more like free form, just discussions because I think we have fun. But we don't have topics always, so I want people to email us at theroundaboutcast@gmail.com and send us just random stuff to talk about because I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
Around girls.
Ask me and Bradley what to order. Like we'll have a discussion on what you order when you get fast food.
Yo, every day at work, it takes me fucking forever to decide what I want for lunch that day. I used to get Thundercloud every day for lunch, and then now I just don't know what the fuck I want to eat. So tell me what to eat for lunch.
I have to eat Jimmy John's most of the time because I'm very limited on what's close to where I work.
Those free smells.
It's either Jimmy John's or Firehouse. There's like a Taco Cabo place nearby.
Taco Cabana.
No, not that one.
Velvet Taco.
Jersey Mike's. That's a good ass sandwich.
Jersey Mike's is
Jersey
good.
Mike's is good.
Wait, hold on. Are we still podcasting or are we done?
We're still live. Fuck it.
This is a
So, okay, when it comes to sandwiches, I really enjoy Potbellies.
I've had Potbellies back when we all worked together at that one place. And there was a Potbellies nearby. It was pretty good.
I liked Potbellies. I liked their chicken sandwich. Like,
Oh man, I love their chicken sandwich. That's what I get it every time.
yeah,
Tyler, making the chicken
it's a good sandwich.
What's the 411 on Subway? Like, are we haters?
No.
Or we...
No, Subway's awful.
Subway,
Okay.
like
Do not eat Subway.
bottom
I'm not-
your sandwich plate.
I'm not gonna fight you, but I also get it a lot because one, it's not a super unhealthy option.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, no.
Get wheat bread, fucker.
This is a study that came out not too long ago. I read it, and it's like, it was like Subway had a study done because they claimed they had the best chicken out there. And it was like,
I
we
get
use
the
most
chicken,
real
and it's
chicken.
definitely not.
No, like they sent it to a lab. Everybody's chicken is like low 80 percentile. Someone was like, one person was in the 92% or something of like how real the chicken is. Subway's was 49%.
No.
Even McDonald's
can't
and
be.
Wendy's and Taco Bell were like up there.
I always get the chicken. Stop.
No, do not eat at Subway. You have better
No.
choices at Taco Bell and McDonald's.
It's not about. I mean, okay, it's fake chicken, but the caloric intake. All right, I try to watch my eating here. It's better than me. Like, what else is close? Like there's a sushi place, a halal place, a pizza place, and Wendy's.
Like,
so
don't
it's
get me wrong.
like,
I will eat a Subway sandwich, but if there's like literally any other sandwich place within 5 miles, I'm gonna go there instead.
don't get. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Like,
I just
let's
need
call a
chicken
spade a spade.
sandwiches. Like not enough places do chicken sandwiches. It makes me
Yeah,
upset.
chicken's great.
Chicken's good.
Thundercloud does chicken sandwich.
Another health tip, if you're a good fan of McDonald's, hey, I love McDonald's as much as the next guy. Don't order their French fries. They're delicious, but that's where you're killing yourself right there.
No, yeah,
Cut
French
the French fries.
McDonald's French fries are delicious, but they're also like pure salt.
They are cocaine.
Here's Joe's health tip: don't eat McDonald's. That's about it.
Nope.
But sometimes you just have to feel shitty about yourself.
I have a large diet
Coke
Coke.
at McDonald's.
Oh.
I will. If I'm road tripping with Tyler and we stop at McDonald's, I'm gonna get a large Coke and that's it. And then we're gonna drive away.
Oh, you're doing so much better for yourself getting a large Coke.
I can't drink Coke now that we're not at
I'd
Disney
rather
anymore.
starve and die.
Oh,
than eat
Disney
McDonald's.
Coke, that was real. All right, we're jumping from too many topics here. I guess we should close
Yeah,
it.
you guys still have Joe Jolie on. This is gonna be a long ass podcast.
Oh God, I'm gonna go make dinner.
No, yeah, you guys are free. Goodbye,
I'm
Bradley. Goodbye, Tyler.
I can talk about Joe Jolion with y'all if y'all want me to.
I do not want you here, Tyler, because you're a fake stan who read chapter 89, and that's the only Joe Jolion you've ever read.
Wait, what chapter is it on now? 91?
We're on 93.
Oh, okay. So I do need to catch up a little bit.
Catch up. Fuck off.
I'm gonna play some fucking League of Legends.
Yeah, you guys go have fun. Yeah, go play League. Me and Joe got love making to do.
Oh.
Later, bitch.